What if I told you that the most important movement on this planet is happening where no human has ever been? Not in the sky, not in space, but deep beneath your feet, at the very center of the Earth. The planet you stand on every day is still spinning. But its heart is no longer moving the way it used to, and not stopping, not collapsing, not exploding. That is just slowing down. And that alone would be unsettling. But here's the part that should make you pause. Most people have never heard about this. It's not trending, it's not breaking news. And scientists? They're speaking very carefully, almost quietly. For thousands of years, humanity believed Earth was stable, solid, reliable, a massive rock that changed only on the surface. Mountains rose, oceans shifted, civilizations came and went. But deep inside, we assumed the planet itself was constant. That assumption is now being questioned. Nearly 3,000 miles beneath the surface, far beyond the deepest drill hole ever made, lies the Earth's inner core. A dense sphere of solid iron and nickel, roughly the size of the moon. For decades, scientists believed this core rotated slightly faster than the rest of the planet, like a motor inside a spinning shell. But something has changed. By studying seismic waves from earthquakes, vibrations that travel through the entire Earth, researchers noticed subtle timing differences, tiny delays, barely measurable, but consistent. After comparing data collected over many decades, a startling conclusion emerged. The Earth's inner core has begun rotating slower than the planet itself. This is not speculation. This is not a simulation. This is not science fiction. It's based on real seismic data recorded by instruments all around the world. And here's what makes this discovery so unsettling. No one knows exactly why it's happening now. Not with certainty, not with confidence. The real question isn't, is this happening? The real question is far more important. Why now? And more importantly, why does it matter at all? To understand that, we first need to understand what the Earth's core actually does and why life on this planet depends on it. Most people imagine the Earth's core as nothing more than a burning ball of metal. Hot, distant, irrelevant to daily life. That assumption could not be more wrong. The Earth's core is not just part of the planet. It is the reason this planet is alive. Deep beneath the surface, the movement of molten and solid metals inside the core generates something invisible, yet absolutely essential. The Earth's magnetic field. You can't see it. You can't touch it. But without it, life on Earth would not survive. This magnetic field acts like a planetary shield. It deflects deadly radiation from the sun. It protects satellites that control communication, navigation, and weather forecasting. It prevents the solar wind from slowly stripping away Earth's atmosphere, and it plays a quiet but critical role in regulating long-term climate stability. Without this shield, Earth would not suddenly explode or collapse. It would fade. Over time, the atmosphere would thin. Water would evaporate into space. Radiation would reach the surface unchecked. Earth would begin to resemble Mars. Cold, dry, silent. That is how much the core matters. Now, here's where things become uncomfortable. Scientists studying earthquakes, Yuekti, events that send vibrations through the entire planet, began noticing something unusual. Seismic waves didn't behave the way models predicted. They arrived slightly earlier or slightly later. Not enough to alarm at first, but enough to raise questions. So, researchers compared seismic data collected over decades, different earthquakes, different locations, different instruments. And slowly a pattern emerged. The inner core, once believed to rotate slightly faster than the rest of the Earth, was no longer doing so. It had slowed. Some evidence even suggests it may be moving in the opposite direction relative to the planet's surface. This is not something humanity has ever directly observed before. Not because it never happened, but because it happens slowly over long time scales, decades, centuries, and that's exactly why it matters. This does not mean the world is ending tomorrow. There is no sudden catastrophe coming, no dramatic collapse, no movie-style apocalypse, but it does mean something far more serious. The Earth is changing in ways we do not yet fully understand. And when the system that protects all life on this planet begins to shift, even gradually, it deserves attention. Which raises an uncomfortable question. If this discovery is so important, why aren't we hearing more about it? Here's a truth most headlines will never explain clearly. Science does not move fast, and uncertainty makes institutions deeply uncomfortable. When discoveries are incomplete, when answers raise more questions than they solve, scientists do not rush to microphones. They slow down, they measure words, they wait, and in some cases, they choose silence. The reason is simple. The Earth's core cannot be observed directly. No camera has ever seen it. No probe has ever touched it. Everything we know comes from indirect evidence. Seismic waves, vibrations caused by earthquakes, are the only messages we receive from the planet's interior. Those signals are faint, complex, and incredibly difficult to interpret. A single measurement means nothing. Patterns take decades to confirm, sometimes longer. That's why scientists hesitate, because announcing something too early can mislead the public, damage credibility, or create fear where none is necessary, and fear helps no one, especially when the changes involved are slow, subtle, and unfolding over generations. But caution does not mean ignorance. Here is what scientists do know. The Earth's inner core has not always rotated at the same speed. Evidence suggests its motion has shifted before, slowing down, speeding up, possibly even changing direction. These are not sudden events. They are cycles. Process that may take decades or centuries to fully unfold. This isn't a hidden agenda. It isn't a suppressed truth. And it certainly isn't a global conspiracy. It's the scientific method doing what it's designed to do. Observe, compare, question, wait for confirmation. Still, there's something unsettling about this moment, because when the heart of a planet changes its rhythm, even slowly, it means the system is alive, dynamic, responsive, and systems that change deserve attention. Not panic, not fear, but awareness. The Earth is not sending an alarm, it's sending a signal. Quiet, gradual, easy to ignore. But history shows us something important. The most powerful changes rarely announce themselves loudly. They happen beneath the surface, out of sight, until one day we realize they were shaping everything all along. Which brings us to the most important question of all. If the Earth's core is changing, what does that mean for our future? Let's be clear about one thing. This is not about fear. This is not about panic. And this is not about predicting the end of the world. This is about awareness, because the most important changes really arrive with explosions or alarms. They arrive quietly, gradually, almost politely. What scientists are observing inside the Earth does not point to sudden catastrophe. There is no countdown, no deadline, no dramatic moment where everything changes overnight. Instead, the possible outcomes are subtle but meaningful. Over long periods of time, shifts in the Earth's core could lead to slight changes in the planet's magnetic field. Not enough to disrupt daily life, but enough to matter to scientists who track satellites, navigation systems, and space weather. Over decades, not years, these changes may slightly influence how we model earthquakes and understand the deep forces shaping the planet. And most importantly, this research improves our long-term understanding of Earth itself, how it works, how it protects life, and how it evolves. Nothing sudden, nothing dramatic, but something important, because Earth is not a dead rock drifting through space. It is a living system, not alive in the way humans are, but alive in motion. Its plates shift, its oceans circulate, its atmosphere breathes, its core moves, slowly, constantly, purposefully, and right now, that system is telling us something, not in words, not in warnings, but in data. Small changes, tiny signals, patterns that only become visible when we stop rushing and start paying attention. This is how the planet speaks, quietly, patiently. The question isn't, should we panic? Panic has never helped understanding. The real question is much simpler, and much harder. Are we paying attention? Because awareness is the first step toward wisdom, and wisdom is how civilizations last. The more we understand the planet we live on, the better prepared we are to protect it and ourselves, not through fear, not through utter speculation, but through knowledge. If this perspective made you pause, if it made you think differently about the ground beneath your feet, share it with someone who values science, curiosity, and truth, because the earth doesn't shout, it whispers. And only those willing to listen will truly understand what it's saying.